Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwadner, and welcome to our live stream. And our special guest is none other than Jeffrey Hayzlett, the chairman of the C-Suite Network. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Hey, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, Gerhard.
So you have an office in New York, and there was an earthquake today.
Yeah, there was. We're rocking it. I mean, that I would like to say we were the reason for it, but luckily, I've lived through about 40 different earthquakes in my life between living in LA a little bit and in Japan, and this was nothing. 4.8. That's just a little plate shaker, but everything in New York shook for a little bit. And I'm actually in my place in South Dakota today. But I checked in with my daughter and everything's safe. And my staff, I was on the phone with my staff in New Jersey and in
Right.
New York when it hit. So it was quite the interesting thing.
A little disconcerting. But speaking of seismic events, you are going to be in Las Vegas on June 5th doing a keynote on your personal brand. Tell us about it.
Well, when I was the chief marketing officer of Kodak and I was responsible for not just marketing, but helping with the sales operation as well, I learned the value of creating your own brand and how important that is. And that, sell yourself, you sell the company, sell you. So the brand of you is just something that's probably the most important thing that we can be doing today as businesses. If you, and it doesn't make a difference what size you are of the business. I mean, I'll go all the way down to, let's just take a dry cleaner in St. Louis. A dry cleaner in St. Louis has got 119 other people who he's competing with in the St. Louis area. He's got to be known, or she's got to be known as the doctor of spots. I mean, they have to be seen as the expert. And today for us, in the way that, the decisions are made on this sales cycle, they used to take, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. There was this long sales cycle. It's not so long anymore. So you have to be seen as the leader of the pack, as the top dog in whatever category you're in. And to do that, you really have to start to become a media company where all the content's focused on your solving of the solutions and how you do that. And so one of the best way to do that is to be, have a podcast show, have a TV show, maybe write a book or write some ebooks or, create content that people are going to interact. Content leads to community and community leads to commerce. So that's the new mantra, I think, for sales, for marketing, is to become that, more than just the brand, because the brand is a promise delivered, but to become that promise that you deliver and show the content over and over and over again to interact with your community and get them to buy.
Well, I would shorten it and say clear content catches customers.
I love that. By the way, one of the cool things about you and I is that we borrow stuff from each other all the time. So I'm going to borrow that and attribute to, because, Gerhard, I got to tell you, and for those that are watching us right now, and of course, most of you know Gerhard, but for those that don't know, I've known Gerhard since the 80s. When I first was out there when in my 20s, and I was a subscriber to the magazine, Selling Power Magazine. In fact, one of the greatest things that ever happened to me was one time I wrote a letter to the editor, Gerhard, and he published it in the magazine. And I thought that was like, I made it big time. I made it big time to get my little letter in that magazine.
Yeah, and I remember you bought 1,000 subscriptions for Kodak salespeople at the time. And you were a very respected leader, a visionary leader. And even with your curiosity and innovation, you could not turn the tide at Kodak.
Yeah, well, sometimes that mountain's a little harder to climb. You can't always get to the top of Everest. There's a lot of people who died along the way, but you do the best that you possibly can and leave it in better condition than when you first got there. And that I can say I did when I was at Kodak. And then years later, of course, they went bankrupt. You can lead the horse to water, but doesn't mean he's going to drink.
That's right. Well, but you have learned a lot about leadership, about revenue generation, and I know that you're a firm proponent of revenue acceleration, which leads to market domination.
Yeah.
So can you give us a B2B example that sticks in your mind right now that is doing a great job with the brand and also where the people in the organization represent that brand and move that brand forward?
Yeah, I think the one I'd give right now is the number one dog that you're seeing out there, and that's Microsoft. I mean, everyone would have counted Microsoft out a number of years ago. Apple's eating their lunch, everybody's Apple. But, listen, I have an Apple computer, but I use Microsoft software on that Apple computer. Why?
Right.
Because it works. I can count on it. It's,
Yep.
it's more of an enterprise level software than most of the Apple stuff. But if you watch the employees, the way they speak of it, the reverence that they give it in the brand themselves, they drink the Kool-Aid. To me, that's a great example. And the leader of that company, the CEO, is doing a great job. And now they're the number one most valued company, in the world. And they went well past the others and are dominating it in a big way. And then you see what they're doing now with Copilot, the AI tool that you can use inside of that, inside of your own enterprise. It's fairly phenomenal to watch people do it.
So you have built a community of C-suite network. You have so much participation. So many people are following you, and they'll listen to what you have to say, but also they'll learn from the community. Tell us about what you are going to plan for Las Vegas the day before the event.
Yeah, I'm so excited. What we love to do is partner. And that's one of the big things about the C-Suite network. It's not just us, it's all the people that are part of it. We're just like a giant sequoia tree where you go into this lush ecosystem or a lush forest, you see this big canopy, and underneath this canopy is this lush ecosystem. That's what the C-Suite network's about. And we're so happy and so excited to be partnering with you for the CRO Summit, because we're bringing not one, but two events into one. And what we're going to be doing is planning a pre-event the day before your CRO Summit to bring about 150 or so C-level executives who are going to come, and we're going to do some interactive sessions, one-on-one sessions the day before. So everybody's going to fly in, get in that morning. The afternoon, we'll have a special sessions, bring in some C-level executives who are going to interact and have some one-on-one, which is a lot like the C-suite, being very intimate with high-level people who can come in, take the armor off, and have great conversations about the things that are important for them in the C-suite. And that's what we're going to do. Then that evening, we're going to do a little C-suite executive mixer where we're going to invite our entire community in Las Vegas. Those are non-sales. We're going to let them behind the curtains too. And we're going to have a little bit of a mixer. And then the next day, we're joining you at the CRO Summit, where we're going to be with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other C-level executives, and we're talking about revenue. And I'm going to be speaking there, talking about the power of media and how you need to be that media company and what you need to do to position yourself and your brand. If you remember, Gerhard, I was called the celebrity CMO when I was a CMO of Kodak years ago. I was on the front cover of Fortune magazine because this face was going on TV on doing things like Celebrity Apprentice and MSNBC, Fox Business, and so many other shows. And I was using this face to talk about the brand and put that conversation, put Kodak back on the map at that time, that they called me the celebrity CMO. And that moniker stuck with me ever since. And so now, of course, I'm a chairman of the company, meaning the C-Suite network. But it's again, it's going to be jam-packed with all kinds of things. And we're going to give anyone that wants to come, because we've got a partnership with you, they're going to get a pass to come. So make sure you reach out to us, because we'd love to have you there.
I think that what you said is so interesting, and your story is so interesting, because when you look at your experience with Kodak, when I first met you, you had a very bright organization, and what the company failed to do, in my opinion, looking from the outside in, is they have not future-proofed their company. And what we need to do as executives, be mindful that the future needs to be earned by out-innovating other organizations that are in the same field. They're competing. It's like in sports. If you don't train them, you're not going to win games. So if you are not going to events like the CRO summit where you meet the best and the brightest, you cannot get the ideas that you need to future-proof your company.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I've been on this mantra since 2010 when I came up with my very first book, left Kodak, and it's all about change, adapt, or die. And and look at the digital world that we're in, and we're all in it today. Everything's going digital without question. Doesn't mean it's right or it's wrong. That's just the way it's going. And certainly the sales cycle has been affected greatly by digital in terms of consideration all the way through the buying and acceptance of the product, customer satisfaction. The inception of the idea all the way through customer satisfaction has been impacted by digital. So you've got to learn to change, adapt, or die. And COVID, by the way, moved a lot of that a lot faster. Now, it didn't cause it, but days became weeks, weeks became months, months became years. And so it's accelerated that cycle a great deal. And so if you're a C-level executive, or you want to be a C-level executive, or you're serving those C-level executives, you need to be at this event because it's a way in which you to learn. If you don't change and adapt, you are going to die. And if you sit there and say, well, I've heard it before. Well, no, I was just in an event a few minutes ago that I was leading with other thought leaders, and someone was presenting and I learned new things. I mean, it's constantly about what can I use, what can I adapt, and how can I do it? And that's what you're going to get from the CRO Summit, and certainly from the C-suite and our participation. I just thank you, Gerhard, for you put together some great events. I've spoken at a lot of your events over the last decade, and you just do a great job, and you're such an innovator. And so people, you're making a big mistake if you're not at this event.
Yeah, if you have a choice, you want to be the disruptor and not being the disrupted. If you disrupt your competition, you're going to dominate the competition. But what I'm excited about is, frankly, is to, you spoke about learning from other people. That's so important because when you go to Vegas, you're going to see the winners of the CRO of the Year award, and they'll be there. They'll receive their award. It's a beautiful crystal eagle statue. And you can rub elbows with those people. You can get their numbers. Maybe you ask him to be your mentor. And we also have have awards for the revenue enablement excellence people. So those are people that are highly talented, gifted enablement practitioners, and they apply even as we speak for the award, and they will receive that. So if you want to hang out with winners, go to Vegas, June 5th and 6th. There is a QR code that you can scan right now. We will publish a special link with a special rate where you're going to look at the number and say, I can't afford to stay home.
You'll lose more money in the casino than what you'll pay by a long shot to go. Gerhard, this is all about you got to get some education, you got to get some inspiration, you got to get some motivation, and you have a chance for monetization, but you got to show up. You just got to show up. You want to win the lottery, you got to buy a ticket. And this is one of those things. You're going to win the lottery by showing up here, but you got to buy the ticket.
Well, you have a facility with words that rhyme, and you string them together, and you're a poet, and you don't even know it.
Hey, there we go. Look at you. Look at that. They got this German that's giving me. They're giving some elocution. There we go.
Well, I'm from Austria, so there's a little bit of a difference.
Okay, sorry about that, brother. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Governor. Well, we are going to have a wonderful time in Vegas, so please join us. There are going to be some private dinners, so many opportunities to network. Jeff and I have one thing in common. We want to help you win and crush your quota. Thank you, Jeff.
Hey, thank you, Gerhard. And I'll see everybody in Las Vegas. And if I can help you in any way, please reach out to me. My email's right there.
Wonderful.